Hey guys, what's up? Can you guys hear me? And if everything is okay or not, that would be awesome. Just checking if everything is working, and yep, that's it. Hey Cuddles, yes, there you go. I'm using a new setup here, like there's a camera, and I'm using tiny bit quiet, but I can hear you. Okay. It's probably I have to come closer to the microphone. This should work. And let me know if that's working. And let me just update everything everywhere else. Okay. Awesome. It's very interesting because I can actually see the chat in OBS now. So yeah, let's continue. And I'm also using Minecraft music. Hopefully it's not copyrighted. But yeah. Wait, is it Minecraft music? I never heard this sort of Minecraft music before. Let's go to the Mokama version. Let's start with Sweden. I remember that one. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Once I started logging in, I had to select some stuff, but yeah, I can see the chat on the side, which is amazing. So today I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I was thinking to do some geometry nodes, but I could also show some of the work that I've been doing outside geometry nodes as well. It's more like, let me give you some update on what I've been up to in the past couple of months. I had mostly worked on freelance projects, so I didn't really get time to work on my own stuff. After releasing, let me decrease the music. Is it all okay with the music and my voice? You know, just checking. Hopefully I can stream more often in the upcoming days. So let's see about that. Yep. Apparently Curtis is my top fan. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, cool. Let's see. Let's open something. There are a lot of projects that I worked on, but let's open something for the voice. If you right click on the audio input and OBS for advanced properties, maybe 3 to 5 decibels to the mic. Okay, let me check if that works. Filters. Properties. Yeah. Not really sure where is advanced audio properties. Oh yeah. Microphone to 3 to 5 decibels. So, okay. Okay, this should be more audible comparatively, or let me also try increasing it to 5 because I can kind of see that it's not hitting the red mark yet. So let's do 5 decibels. Now let's see. Okay. This should possibly be a little bit more better. And the music, yep. I'm gonna increase the music as well, just a tiny bit. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Curtis. Thank you so much. Hopefully the camera is also not lagging. If it does, I'll get to know soon. So anyway, let me see what I can showcase first. I've been modding a lot of pieces for a huge scene. I don't want to open that scene right away, but then I can show some of the cool rendering setups that I've been doing. There you go. It's a sharpener. In India, we used to call it mender as well for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but that's the first thing that I learned, I suppose. Uh, so yeah, this is the scene, and I have some lights as well. Let me see if I can turn on the extras. Wow, yeah, that's crazy. Okay, let's go to the rendered view. So this is how it looks at the moment. I really love this one especially. Um, but yeah, I'm also using some add-ons here. You can see I'm using LensCam. LensCam is really amazing. Recently started playing with it. Of course, easy HDRI as well. For product scenes, I don't really think I will be using easy HDRIs that much, but we do need some fill light. So, but then now, now that Curtis is also here, I'm also using ambient, not ambient, sorry, what's it called? Afterglow. I always get confused with ambient grunge and afterglow, mostly because both are pretty similar in my head. And I've been modeling a lot more stuff, so let me quickly jump to that as well. Yes, let's go. Afterglow. Yeah, this is the other one. You can see there are some clips as well as some paper clips. I kind of really like this one more compared to the other one, mainly because I really love the shading that I've done on this one. So I'm pretty curious about how I can improve this as well. So this is another project that I've done. Oh, the music was good. Yeah, please let me know if you have any questions regarding any project that as well. Like if you want to see more, just put that in the chat. Actually, I was thinking, should I? Yeah, let me just open the full scene. It's gonna take a while because it's pretty huge. You can see that I've hand modeled every single asset here. And yeah, we can also turn on the wireframe if you like. It's all 3D modeling mostly. Yeah, so I would also like to show you the rendered view. So let's do that. It might take a while for everything to load, but shouldn't take as long. So what you guys been up to lately? What all stuff have you guys been working on? I've also been playing a lot of games in between and reading books. So any suggestions is always appreciated. I'm also using Blender 5.0, so you know, it might crash once in a while, but hopefully it shouldn't be a huge problem. There you go. Finally it works. Okay, let's turn off this one. So my plan was to tell a story based on cluttering and a scrapbook. This is the first time I'm actually sharing anything from this, so there it is. Oh, nice. Patreon, No Man's Sky, Battlefield 6, getting ready for uni. I'm super excited for your uni stuff, Curtis, honestly. Can't wait what you can produce on the second channel. I think that'll be the main channel for a couple of days. Yes, details wise, I hand modeled everything, textured everything all by myself. Only because I took a backseat on a lot of modeling side of things for a couple of years. I've been only doing procedural texturing and procedural modeling. So I wanted to get back at doing more modeling stuff. So I took some time for the past 2-3 weeks. I've been just working on this one scene, grinding as much as I can, trying to push the realism. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of what I was able to do in this particular scene as well. Of course, these things you won't be able to see in the rendered view because it's been hidden, but yeah, it's only for the viewport. I'm also like working on a lot more assets. There are a lot more stuff that I can keep on working on, but for now, my plan is to just make this more into a storytelling tool, because I think I've modeled enough assets in this particular scene. Now I need to organize it better, play with the lighting, add more dramatic lights, which I'm pretty bad at. Lighting is one thing which I'm pretty weak. This only works because I only use two lights here. One is the sunlight and another is HDRI, and it just looks great right off the bat. And of course, blocking the lights with different planes here and there, as you can see. Anyway, so this is the scene that I've been working on, and I'm kind of scared to show you what I've been working regarding Baijian for Curtis, but I'll refrain from showing that. But you can kind of see. I'm not going to turn on the rendered view for obvious reasons. It's going to look pretty disturbing. But yeah, here is something. So this, I actually procedurally textured this with the most fleshiest flesh ever. So the rendered view would be really scary. Yeah, I would like to carry on with making more updates to this, because me and Curtis have been thinking of how we can improve the modular workflow. So I've been creating some pretty cool nodes along the way. Let me see if I can pull up some other stuff as well. Let me. Bayesian testing. Yeah, there is some surface deformation stuff that we worked on, of course. And there is also distribution stuff. So here are a couple of other nodes that we worked on. I'll show you how this works in a bit, but yeah, we are trying to create more complex node groups, which can be really useful for motion graphics looking stuff, but also creating surface and volume and mesh deformations. So yeah, but I would like to work on this another time. I'm going to show some other stuff that I've been working on in the meantime. So let's see. I also worked with a friend of mine on a NPR project, non-photorealistic, and I am very proud of it because I learned a lot during the project, even though the project came to a close. So let me see if I can pull those up. I worked on a couple of generators, so let me see. Yep. Here are some really cool geometry nodes generators that I've done. This would look really good in the rendered view, so let's just take a second. There you go. And also I think it's animated. We can increase animation a tiny bit more, so let me see where I can find the animation. This was a while ago, so I think I should just increase this value, or even this. Okay, yeah, there you go. So this is actually very interesting because I think I can, increase the size using the new controls that they have given. I can also do this, which is amazing. Yeah, stuff like that. I can also increase the number of leaf generators using some other controls, and the start and end position of these things. Let me know if you guys want a tutorial on this, because I think this would be really a cool one to explore as a tutorial. And in the same sense, I also modeled a couple more different assets and did the same thing here. This was very fun to work on. Let me see if I can change some controls to show you how things work. Yep. This is really interesting. Yeah, we can go from small to big, but big to small is also works. Oh yeah, that makes sense. So I'm also trying to get used to talking to the camera, as well as trying to just get better at talking to the camera, as well as sounding as if I'm teaching rather than just talking to an audience. So let's see how far I can push this. Okay. For now, I think I'll work on this eraser asset, because oh wow, that must be loud. I want to work on this eraser asset and make prettier visuals, if that makes sense. So let me just make a backup of this one. Let's call this eraser visualization or rendering. I'll show you how I did this in a bit, but yeah, now that it's all there, let's work on the other stuff. So this is how the render view looks. That's totally fine. Let's add a camera, of course. Camera, and let's rotate this along X, rotate X, rotate Y 90. Front view, Alt G, Alt R, rotate X 90, G, Y. Yep. There's a lot we have to improve here, so let's just bring it really close, and let's see why this looks really bland. I think it's in the world lighting setup. Oh my god, the strength is really, really high. Now it is too low, but that's okay. I'm also wondering why the object looks really... The cover seems to have a huge reflection, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's probably because of the subsurface scattering, but oh wow, there is some CUDA issues. It's always a problem. Let's see if it crashes. I'll make some pretty visuals today. That should be the stream's final output. Yeah, sometimes Blender does this really annoying waits. So in the meantime, let's see if I can chat with you guys. Yep, still an issue. I wish it crashes now, just because I can restart it. There you go. Let's close the program. It crashed. Okay, let's open Blender again. What a great start. Okay, the eraser rendering again. X 90, rotate Y 90. Yep, that's cool. Let's go to the shader editor. In the world settings, let's remove this and delete it all. Mainly because I think I want to use the easy HDRI add-on, and let me choose my HDRI folder as well for this one. There you go. So I modeled and textured this a while ago. So if you take a look at the wireframe, this is really heavy, dense mesh. Mainly because I really wanted to add some subtle details here and there, like like the wrapper coming out and stuff like that, just to add some variation to this, if that makes sense. But yeah, like I would not recommend anyone to do anything remotely as dense as what I had done here. But yeah, anyway, I also added geometry node based particles. I scattered them because I thought that would add a little bit more realism, which it did definitely. And I also came up these textures, and I generated some random QR codes using some online generators. And yeah, and all the surface imperfections, they're not procedural, even though I wanted to try to do it procedurally. But then I'm not here going for my proving that I can do it procedurally, more than I really want to push my limits to push the photorealism of this particular asset. So I chose image textures, and please don't crucify me for that. But yeah, let me break it down for you guys. So this is the eraser. Let's call this eraser. Yeah, in India we call it a different name, but then once I went to UK, I found out the meaning is totally different. So this is the cover. There are a couple of things here. You can see that for roughness, I've added a couple of textures with different variations. And I also added some noise to this so that it's not always like perfect. It also, because this scratch map is too many scratches and I wanted some scratches, so I kind of subtracted some of them to it. Now I can also increase it just by this one slider. So that is where my procedural knowledge comes into play, I suppose, because I can control the image textures to whatever I need. And then for the textures itself, here is an eraser texture, like eraser map, and then here is the barcode. It's on the side, and I also think there is another small eraser on the side. Yeah, these are the three maps I've been using. And first, black, just give base color, and then add the barcode, and then add the eraser. That is level 1. And here in compare, I procedurally made these two lines, and I also gave it a different color just because it has to fit. It just looked super bland, so I had to add something there. And then I think I added a scratch map here. Added some sort of darkening. I'm not sure if you can see that, using the scratch map. And that's basically the base color done. And I'm pretty sure you can see the scratch map stuff better here. But yeah, anyway. And for in specular, there is anisotropy. You might ask, anisotropy is mostly for metals, but I found out that you will get really pretty reflections like smudges if you play with anisotropic rotation. Let me increase this. I'm going to keep the anisotropy value at 1, but anisotropic rotation will basically be where I'll be playing with it. So because it's going from 0 to 1, we can make it 1, but no, for a fact, let's make it 10 for now. Now you can see it is a lot more noisier, but also adds a lot of realism to the stretchingness. So this is how it is without anisotropy, with anisotropy, and this is without. You can see there's only a small gradient, but then once you add this, it also catches all the smudges here and there, which is really, really interesting. I never found out about this. I think I've watched like someone texturing a metal surface, but for smudges they used anisotropy to distort the reflections, because reflections stretch just like how, like smudges, the oiliness stretches the reflection. That's why. So that was really fun to try it out in this software, which I really love, to be honest. Like, now let's add a camera. Go to front view, shift a camera, Control Alt 0, and in end panel let's make X and Y zeros. That's fine. Let's choose a large mm. Let's do 85 mm for this one. I know like the size of this is a meter, but I think that shouldn't be a huge problem. But let's see if lighting is being really weird. Okay, let's choose a nice angle and bring it there. Yeah, and now in the easy HDRI we can decrease the sky texture. So I'm just gonna give a tiny bit of fill light. Now everything else will basically be lighting using area lights. For lighting, I generally go for the animation workspace. Let's see. And here I'm going to turn off all the overlays, everything. And panel T panel, let's go to the camera view. Let's press home. And this will be in the render view most of the time. And I would like to keep this one to the world editor. But again, it doesn't matter because you can see all the values are here. And here I would like to go to Control Shift Q, is it? Yeah, Control Alt Q. Now this gives me this really nice setup. Now I can add lights in different angles. So let's add a area light. I might use Afterglow for this one, but let's see. Because I found out like Afterglow's lighting is really, really pretty sometimes. So let's check it out in a bit. We need a key light, fill light, and rim lights, but I always, for some reason, I start with rim lights because yeah. See that? Let's increase that. Oh, there you go. I'm going to keep the power to 10, but then I'm going to increase exposure because I would like to get better at understanding how this is. I think it's a exponential multiplier of the value 10, I would say. But yeah, it's very interesting for me because there you go. Oh, the rim light. Let's also rotate this on the z-axis. Oh, that's nice. You can see like how we can find this map, but it's really strong. That's all right. We can always decrease the exposure a tiny bit maybe. And I'm pretty sure the reflection looks super strong because of our let me see, of this anisotropic rotation. There you go. You can see this is without any anisotropic rotation and this is with. So yeah, that is how strong it is. I'm just gonna keep it super subtle so that it's not overpowering it. So this is 0 and this is 1. Okay. Maybe 1 is too much, too little. 2 is a 3. There you go. Okay, that's nice. Now that there is some sort of stretching, I'm kind of happy with that. Let's also play with the value and the height. Okay, that's nice. I'm happy with this. And on the end panel again, we can go to the HDRI and let's rotate the HDRI to see if we can find any strong lighting or any sort of rim lights. This is a sort of an overcast room, so let's see if I can change it to a studio and if that makes it any better. Okay, this is studio room. I'm going to change the strength to 1. You can see everything is evenly lit, of course, because there is a sort of like a softbox. I'm going to keep it at 0.1 or 0.2 for this one, and let's rotate it. Yeah, let's see. What does mirror ball do? Have anyone used mirror ball before? I'm quite curious because I never really played with world lighting setups as much, but yeah. Okay, this is nice. Now you could say like this is my signature setup by adding a cube with volume to it. I'm going to scale this to 2 times. I'm going to add a volume material. Delete the principal shader and add principled volume. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Of course, the density is too much. This should do. I'm gonna turn on the film. Yeah, there you go. Now I can see the difference with a black background. First of all, immediately I can see that I don't like these lights, like how it is affecting that. I don't want the lights to affect the volume yet, so I'm going to go to the object properties, shading. Is it shading? Visibility. Okay. In visibility, I would like to turn off volume scatter. You can see it doesn't affect the volume, but this definitely affects the object. It's like light linking, but not exactly. But yeah, I'm going to turn off visibility for that. Now, this kind of shows like, even though there is volume, the light is not affecting the volume. I want to keep my light separate to to the object and the volume, because now I can give some really pretty gradient lightings to the volume itself. So that's how I was thinking about that. And also I'm pretty curious to see how I can use Afterglow assets. So let's see, Afterglow version 2, object lighting. Nope. Nope. Some pretty light patterns actually. I think for this to work, we should, wait, what? Okay, that's fine. We have to add a plane and add a material to this. Mission. Increase the strength. There you go. That's very interesting. Oh yeah, 2:1, which basically means I should scale this by 2. Apply scale. Oh, that's really interesting. I'm gonna give UV map for this one, or even generated should work. Yeah, it's fine. I would like to see how this would look. Oh, yes. Please work in reflections somehow. Okay, I think I should also give a transparent shader, just because I think I would like to not block the lights. So okay, Alt S, there you go. Now the light is not blocked, but this also rotates that. You see how pretty that looks? Oh my god. I can see there is a lot of use cases for this one, even though, like, it doesn't really work in this scene. Yeah, I'm gonna delete that for now. Okay, let's work on regular lights for now, and let's see if that adds anything to it. And I'm also going to change the color to a tiny bit of blue tint. And we now need only volume lights, so let's do that. For volume lights, I'm going to use again area light area, GZ. Yep, and here now I can increase. Ah, there you go. So good, so good. Okay, I want this to be a tiny. I want this to be subtle, but also give that tiny bit of glow there. So now I'm going to click on the object. Yeah, the empty. Let's rotate it a tiny bit. Ah, you see how it catches the light in different angles? Yeah, I love that so much. But if you observe, the reflection is sort of rotating. You see that? The reflection is sort of rotating. Huh. That's because the okay, I see. And I'm also going to make this only visible as bounds. So object viewport bounds. Yeah, I can select this pretty easily. Yeah. Okay. We need to give a good tangent. The tangent will definitely be our UV map. Yeah. Okay. Now the reflection is straight, like, you know. Now let's see, let's rotate it and see if that helps anything. Yes, that's better. That's a lot better. Cool. Okay, that's it. Something like this. Rotate XX. Rotate YY. Yep. We can animate this as well along Y-axis or X-axis. Okay. And let's bring this a tiny bit back as well. This should do good. And let's render this. And I'm gonna do some compositing so that I don't have to make everything. The phi tool sample should do good. Anyway, once I render this, you can see this is super bright. And let's see how close can we clip this, like how clipped that looks. And we have to decrease the strengths of these lights as well. But immediately I can tell I really like, I really find like this is too bright. We can change some texture there. And this is fine. But yeah, let's take a look at it in a bit. I'm gonna look at the chat for now. And oh wow, 7 people are watching. It's been a while. I got this sort of engagement, so that's awesome. Do ask any questions that you guys have regarding geometry nodes, shader nodes, anything. Would be happy to answer them. This should do. I think I don't know what resolution. Oh my god, yeah. This is so bad. Let's do only 50% resolution for now. Let's render this again. This should be faster. And yeah, once I'll show you my compositor setup. It's pretty interesting. I've used this setup for a long time, so I'm not really sure how that's going to turn out. Luckily, I'm not denoising it here in the render. I would like to denoise it later on. I don't know if this has compositing nodes already. It seems to have a compositing node setup, but just basic right now. And now you can see the issues. Even though in the viewport you can't see it, you can see the ugliness right here. Even in the noise image, you can see that's prominent. So we have to move the light above. Oh, yeah, got it. I just saw the final message. Sorry. Yeah, that kind of makes sense in studio lighting setup. Let's do, for now, this is fine. And immediately I would say I would add a RGB curve node and pull down to see can we pull any details here. Do anyone think like the new socket look ugly? I don't know. For some reason, square socket doesn't look that good to me. Like, look at this. It was pretty before. Okay, you can see that. Yeah, knew it. It's kind of clipped. Let's go to the color management. I'm using punchy already, which is really interesting. Let's decrease exposure. Okay, you can kind of see that there is some detail. That's definitely a good thing that there is detail, but it's really, really clipped. Like, nah, that shouldn't even be allowed. That amount of brightness should not be allowed, which means we should go back to our lighting setup and we should change it. I know I'm pretty slow, but I'm just chilling right now, so don't come at me. Okay. First, this should be out of the scene. Should not be in the camera view at all. So let's move this up. And now let's go to the color management. I don't want to go punchy because I want to add the color grading with shaders, like with compositing nodes. And I'm gonna play with some exposure as well. Okay. Now this light is what's causing the that. Oh, there you go. This is without that light almost. And now let's slowly bring it up. I think this is the level it should be at, like, because right now you can still see the details, but also it's not clipped as much. So let's make the exposure 0 and let's decrease the power and then increase the exposure. Let's keep the power at 2. Let's increase exposure just a tiny bit. Let's do 2 as well. And of course, let's go to the world settings. This is without the strength of the sky. And I'm gonna keep it only a subtle at 0.1 for now. And now let's rotate this object. Yeah, that's good. I'm happy with this. But of course, the shaders is what I need to work on right now. So I'm going to select the eraser and let's take a look at the shader. I'm going to make this darker, more darker, of course. Yeah. Okay. Let's decrease the weight all the way to 0 and see how that looks. That definitely looks bad. Decrease the radius as well. Let's give it a different color. Is it this time? There you go. Okay. The sides are too bright according to this. And let's see what I did here. Okay, I gave a huge radius value. I would go this maybe. This is better. And dot product is fine. Color ramp. Mix. Okay, now it's adding a sort of a yellow fringe. Let's make it different. Let's make it darker. Mainly because, erasers get really dusty. So let's do multiply maybe. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Oh, cool. No problem. Have a good food, Curtis. And then let's take a look at what this is doing. Okay, this is these little objects, like the spots. I assumed that these spots kind of mimic the when when you poke it with a pencil, that one. For some reason, apparently this is Minecraft music. So interesting. Okay, I changed it. Now let's mix this as well. There you go. We can make it as dark as we want, but I think I'm gonna just darken it a tiny bit more. I'm not looking for realism. I'm not looking for cleanliness like a product lighting setup. It's more about like showcasing my object with all its imperfections. So that's what I was thinking. There you go. Distance should never be this much, so I think I'm gonna make it 0.01. Oh no, 0.05 maybe. That's good. Yep, that should do. Can you see this is not helping for some reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this or this and plug this into the radius. And this should kind of make this more darker. Yeah, it does, which is great. And also you can see the objects have this scatter system. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the geometry node setup and see if I can salvage anything from here. Like, okay, that's how it looks. That's totally fine. Instance, these are smaller bits and these are larger bits, and I want the larger bits to have a little bit larger what to call it, like scale. So I'm gonna make it 0.75 maybe 6, just because I want to see them better from this distance. Okay, that works. And let's see which materials, eraser and rubber particles. Okay, no problem. Cool. Now let's go to the compositor and let's quickly do a quick render and see if we can use that now. I really like the texture of the eraser. And yeah, even though this is less brighter, I would say it's more realistic. We can also add more rim lights, like for the bottom and stuff. And I'm gonna take a little bit more liberty on how I would like to go about lighting the under part, because I would like to see some information there as well. Again, I don't really have to make it this way. I can also duplicate this object and showcase two different angles, which is a good idea. So I'm going to try that next. Before that, let's do some quick compositing. So generally, again, I'm going to start with RGB curves, mainly because I don't want to use punchy. I'm basically creating punchy using RGB curves by crunching up the blacks, increasing the whites, and then glare. We have bloom. Good. Let's do bloom, I think. Okay, that's really nice. I'm gonna make the strength 0.4 for now. I don't want it to be too strong, and I would like to go for a bluish tint. Okay, it's not that visible, so to be honest, we can leave it that way. And I'm also gonna make it big to see if it makes any difference. That's fine. And let's go to nodes, group, view, options. I'm gonna change the GPU. Yep, distortion. I don't want any jitter. Next is noise texture. Okay, so in Blender 5.0, there is actually noise textures now. So if you can, you can technically export a UV map layer and then use that as nodes. I don't know if, yeah, okay, there is UVs. I'll show you how this works. So let's quickly render this again. Shouldn't take much longer, just a couple of minutes. I mean, I'll show you why this is kind of great, in my opinion. I come from nuke background as well, so we use UV maps there pretty much religiously for anything that can be done in post-processing. So we use all these data. Okay, let's take a look at UV map. See, this is what I was talking about. Now it actually gives you UVs. Now if you take a look at this, of course, I'm gonna mix it with, the background has a single color here, but let's assume this. You can see it actually wraps around the surface. So now you can increase or decrease it. If you have good UVs, you can technically use this to do some cool stuff, honestly. For example, here is something which I can do. I'm gonna make this like this and use a mix color node. Let's assume map range. Yeah, now I only want these values to have a different color now. So I can easily, pretty much easily add that color, like, you know, dust or grunge. I don't have to render it again with UV maps. And it'll respect its rotation as well. So even with the rotation, it's still going to be stuck to the surface. It's not gonna stay stagnant to the screen space, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's one way. So that's another, you can say, tutorial. But right now, that's not why I added this node. I'm going to add film grain. So for one case scene, I think 500 should do fine. And I'm also using normalize, but I'm going to clamp using vector math maximum 0. So now you can see the values are going from minus 0.5 to positive 0.5 in all x and y and z axis. When I as a maximum function, it's going to clamp the lower values to 0. So, you know, it doesn't go below that. I don't know if you can see the tiling a tiny bit, like, you know, there's dots, right? Which is very interesting. I never really saw that before. So you can increase the roughness if you want, if it feels like it's too much, you know. And now let's use a mix node, mix color, and plug the maximum there and change this to overlay. If you go all the way close, you can see how well the sizes are. You can also decrease or increase size. Let's do 250 to check. And also decrease this. Okay. And I'm just going to keep it super subtle. About 2.25 should do good. That's good, I think. So now we have film grain. Now let's take a look at the viewport compositor in the camera. Wow. It's better than punchy, isn't it? So yeah, that's the reason why I don't prefer using the presets. I prefer using the real ones. Okay, let's also increase the top lighting. I know I'm using it really strongly here. Let's go 100 for power, and let's decrease the exposure. This is with one exposure. 2 exposure will be 4 times as bright, and 3 exposure would be, yeah, it's like, because it's exponential, it's going to be more brighter, I suppose. And of course, this way we can also add more lights, and these two lights are only affecting the object, and the top light is only affecting the is affecting both. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to affect only this only for the volume and not the object. So let's go to object settings. I'm going to turn off diffuse and glossy. You see how much different that looks? I think we can give glossiness, or like we can turn off glossy. We definitely need another diffuse light. I don't know, it looks really cool, like very ominous and stuff. So I'm just gonna quickly render this to see how that looks. Yeah. That's beautiful. Like I'm saying, I'm just playing around with different lighting setups right now. So I'm also trying to get better at it. So yeah. Okay. Immediately, with and without compositing, you can see there's a huge difference. This is with compositing, and this is without compositing. Of course, the brightness has been uh, moved around. So I'm just going to quickly move this to the center again. Overall, I definitely think we have to increase the object lighting rather than the environment lighting. So we can play with that next. And it all comes down to here. Here you can see the spots are really patchy again. So I'm going to decrease this to 0.15. Just going to keep it slightly subtle. And just because the lighting looks like this, it kind of looks like there is a vignette already, which we are going to change once we add more lights. So next, I'm just going to duplicate this light and put it bottom so that I can play around with that, if that makes sense. See that edge, or maybe this edge. Yeah, let's bring this to the front and Shift T, point it towards that object. Yeah, without and with. You see that? That's great. That's really great. And I'm also wondering what happens if I make it, if I allow it, if that makes sense, to volume scatter. Without volume scatter and with volume scatter. I kind of prefer without, because I can change, I can use different colors to volume scatter, I suppose. Yeah. And now I can definitely see we can increase this value a tiny bit more. Or at least we can play around with that. I'd also prefer if it's a gradient, so I'm thinking. So let's go to the shader editor. Use nodes, and in emission, let's do 1 by 1 light pattern. There is only one. Just curious, just to see. Okay, not working as expected. So I just did a gradient. I might have a. Oh wow. Let's see if I might have another option here. Trying to go for textures. Oh yeah, softbox. Yeah, you can see the difference without. You see how strong this is, and with. I think this is what I was kind of looking for. I really like the soft fall off, you see? And I can also increase or change the color of this, which is very great. So I can mix color with this and change this to multiply and bring this all the way up to 1. But also I can change which color this is actually going to be as. So yeah, this setup is always useful. And if you want to see the softbox texture, it's pretty simple. Let's pull it up. There you go. This is it. It's a basic softbox texture. We can kind of make this procedurally as well. I think there is a gradient. I remember working on one. Was it border cross? Yeah, it's fine. Anyway, let's get back to this. I'm gonna shift it around. I'm okay with this, to be honest. Okay. Oh. Oh wow. Do you see that? That's a nice little surprise. That glint. When you get that glint, it's really pretty. And the reason why this kind of looks like it's rotating in the wrong axis is because I deliberately changed the setup to, yeah, that's the reason. Let me see if I can change the empties position a tiny bit more. Object properties. Can I do delta transforms? Okay, no. Okay, no. Nope. Okay. Then I change the origins. Yeah, the transformations is a little weird. I suppose it's fine. Okay, now let's play with more rotations. So I have better idea on how it's gonna look. Okay, even this is great because I like that glint on the side. And let's move this a tiny bit to the center. Let's bring this a tiny bit up. Okay, great. Now all I'm going to do is I'm gonna instance to scene the same place in a different angle. Like that. You see what I'm doing? It's very interesting. I know. Let's take a look at that. Yep. Educational purposes. Okay, about that. Okay, now let's take a look at the rendered view. For context, this is how it looks at the moment. Much better, isn't it? Yeah, let the thing resolve and then we can see how it looks with compositing, and then we can change based on that. I'm also having two monitor setups, so that's why I'm also looking at the second monitors to see if the colors look good on that as well. Oh, nice. See, I really like the glint, and I can see this is too dark at the moment on the side. That's only because I think I might have given too darker version of it, but honestly, if I change a little bit of composition and play with what depth of field and stuff, should possibly be better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go there, Alt D, rotate this in a random angle. I don't know if that helps at all. No, it doesn't really, does it? Okay. Quickly, let's go to the let's select the object and let's see if we can change that value. I think the okay, saturation to 0. There you go. I'm just gonna keep it subtly, not too bad. Even with pure black background, it does kind of look good. So I'm gonna just check with the pure black background with 1, 2. Let's do slot 1 for now. And let's see the difference. The render should be faster because there is no input from that. Technically, it should just look like as if it's slapped on each other because the lights are not affecting them. So also, I'm just checking. There's some sort of really jagged back-facing stuff going on. I think I need to fix that. See, before and now. I'm definitely going to add the volume back, but then just checking how this looks for now. Okay. Here, immediately, I think the glint is too strong. So I'm just going to decrease this strength, maybe size to 0.5. Just a tiny bit. Saturation. 0.2. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, let's see. We can also change the colors of the value as well, but for some reason I'm stuck with blue. So let's mute this without the RGB curves and with RGB curves. I definitely think RGB curves is needed. What happens if I go film line? Nah, no big deal. Okay, let's do high res render once, and let's zoom in closer and see what happens. I generally do high res because I can closely observe any mistakes that are not visible. There you go, that's what I was talking about. I think the bump strength is super strong in the back facing for this. We need to fix that next. Yeah, I don't really see much trouble with these objects, the scatter objects. I would like to have more darkness inside these. Like one side there seems to have darkness, the light side there seems to have literally no darkness going on. So that's pretty interesting. And also these stretches is too strong. I might have to decrease it. So we'll look into that as well. I'm pretty happy with the white and blue breakup right here. Even though that was not intentional, it does look great. So I'm not gonna touch that at all. Okay, let me know what you guys think of this. That's good. I know this seems a lot, but we can also decrease it because it's a geometry nodes based one, so no worries on that regard. I definitely think the glint is really pretty, but yeah. How long have I been streaming for so far? Let's check. Wow, I started at 9:55 my time. So it's about 11:10, so almost 1.5 hours. This should do. I think I'll stop streaming after I complete this and we'll see how it goes. Oh, nice. I'm gonna save this image. Renders, eraser. I'm gonna change this to PNG. 8-bit is fine. RGB 8-bit. Yeah, let's do 16. No big deal. Okay, immediately can you see that because of our noise, there's a little bit of red and green splotches. That's because we increase the resolution, so you can see them much better, or like, you know, it's kind of like on the face, you know. There I go, it's very on the face. So let's increase the scale to 500 now, and let's take a look at the noise. I'm going to decrease the roughness a tiny bit more, maybe 450, 400. This is how normalized noise looks like. And when you do take a look at the normalized noise, the overlay doesn't really seem to have any much effect. There you go. It does, but it looks like it's burning rather than it's like color burning. Now it is too strong, of course. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. Soft light maybe? Yeah, soft light causes these artifacts when overlay doesn't really cause those artifacts. So even though the math is very similar between soft light and, like, if you take a look at this area, you'll see minimal change when you use soft light or overlay, but overlay doesn't causes the bright things, because overlay only works between 0 and 1 value. So anything beyond that, you won't really find any difference. So when you turn off normalize, now you can see the negative values are also getting affected somehow. So just going to keep this subtle, like 0.1 seems to be fine. Okay. For now, I think this is pretty good. We can stop here for now. I'd like to continue the streams again, possibly every other day. So yeah, thanks for joining, guys. It was fun. I'm a little lethargic today, mainly because it's super late in the night for me. I would like to stream much earlier. Do join the Discords, and actually, let me paste the Discord channel link here. I don't think I have done that yet, so just Give me a couple of minutes. And you'll be notified once I do that, I suppose. So invite people. Never, no limit. Let's do that's generate new link. And I'm gonna paste this in the server. Yeah, you can join using that link in the chat. I'll also edit the description. So let's check that out. Discord link and save. So now if you refresh this, you can actually find the Discord link in the description as well. So do join them, and I'm going to stop streaming right now. Thank you for joining, everyone. Bye-bye.